Senator Williams, you've called for a royal commission into the Commonwealth Bank and ASIC. Why?
Chris, I've called for about 4 or 5 years for a royal commission into white-collar crime, and our inquiry into ASIC just reaffirms that, in my opinion. And it was quite an amazing inquiry and 61 recommendations. I've never been involved in a Senate inquiry with so many recommendations, and it shows the importance of the inquiry and what we need to do to make sure that the Australian public has total confidence in the financial planning industry and total confidence in ASIC and how it carries out its job and its duties. And look, I have a lot of things come into my office, Chris, a lot of complaints on a lot of people have lost money, whether Ponzi schemes or Phoenix schemes, whatever. As I've said on other media outlets, years ago, robbers would rob with a pistol or a rifle or a gun. Now they seem to rob with one of these things called a biro.
And yet your calls for a Royal Commission have fallen on deaf ears with the government, with the Finance Minister, for example. This government is funding Royal Commissions into such things as home insulation and the union movement. Why are they so reluctant to have a Royal Commission if the state of the situation is as serious as you say?
Well, the inquiry, the recommendations are an independent inquiry, either judicial or Royal Commission. I support a Royal Commission, Chris, and when I get back to Canberra and we have our next joint party room meeting, I'll certainly be raising this very issue, because we need to see that people are protected when they work hard and they invest their monies, that their money is protected, not put on some crazy scheme. Chris, we've seen the collapse of Storm Financial, Trio Capital, Opus Prime, Timber Corp, Great Southern, Equity Trust. Billions of dollars of hard-earned money lost, and we've got to fix this up. We can't go on down this road of people simply trusting everyone for this financial product and then finding it turns sour and ends up in tears. And those people who are promoting and doing the wrong thing, I believe, need to come under scrutiny, and we need to do the best we can to make sure that our financial industry right across Australia is cleaned right up.
Why then the reluctance to hold a judicial inquiry? Is it the fact that we often say that the big four banks are too big to fail? Is it they're too big and powerful to investigate?
No, I don't think so. And Prime Minister Tony Abbott has said he'll have a good close look. The government will have a good close look at the recommendations. Matthias Cormann has made some brief comment, I believe. But we've got to get around and discuss these issues in more detail and see what we come up with. And I would like a Royal Commission for sure.
Now, Senator Williams, I'm puzzled here because on one hand you're calling for a Royal Commission into white-collar crime, into this financial advice segment with the CBA. But on the other hand, the government is in the process of watering down the FOFA laws, the Future Financial Advice laws that Labor introduced. I don't quite understand how on one hand you want a Royal Commission and on the other hand you support the watering down of Labor's reforms.
Chris, ask the question, the so-called watering down that you say. Look, I was involved in the PJC, the Parliamentary Joint Committee into Storm Financial, where these recommendations all came out. There is no watering down. Section 916 clearly states that the interest of the client is foremost and must be put first. The only thing we're changing is Part G of that, which is basically a catch-all statement, which means the financial planners could well be up for legal action, being sued, and then they'll have to take out expensive insurance. It'll cost more. We're trying to reduce the cost of financial planners so everyone can afford to have advice from a financial planner. The point is this: 1 in 5 Australians at the moment seek professional financial advice. We want to raise that. If it gets too expensive, then people simply won't seek financial planning. The other issue is opt-in. Now, opt-in means that every 2 years, a financial planner must go to the client and say, this is where we're up to and this is how much it's cost. That is another cost. We're going to have a statement where every year the financial planner must give a statement to the client of how much the charges have been and how much it's cost. That's there in black and white. All of the customer's got to do is ring the planner. So we're just removing a couple of issues of red tape. There'll be no conflicted remuneration. There'll be no commissions back in for professional or general advice. The changes we're doing are very minor to simply make it affordable and that's a good thing. And in relation with the recommendations with this Senate inquiry as far as licensing all the financial planners, giving ASIC the power to put a stop order on them with one phone call, will give a clear message to all financial planners that if you do the wrong thing, you're going to be in serious trouble.
But isn't it the case that, say, financial advisors working for the big banks will still be able to steer clients to those banks' products without fully revealing competitors' products? Isn't it still the case that not all the costs and trailing commissions will need to be revealed to the clients?
But that's the case all along now. That's nothing without changes, Chris. That's been in since day one. That here is the problem we face with financial planning in Australia. I believe in the UK, if you're a financial planner, you cannot be linked to any company. You must be totally independent. Perhaps something that we need to look at in Australia is similar to that. But no doubt financial planners do work for big companies. But if they break that rule of not putting the interest of the client first and in the best interest in a proper survey or statement of advice, they're going to be scrubbed out.
But how do you prove that? I mean, if a financial advisor has a numerous products and says, I'll go for my bank's product, how can you prove that they're not working in the best interest of their client?
This is the job for ASIC, Chris, so that when you do a statement of advice, for example, if I go into a financial planner and I'm 75 years of age and I've got $100,000, I say, I want to be conservative. I don't want to put this at risk. Don't put on a local favourite at Randwick this week. I want it to be safe and secure. Then the planner changes into high risk for more benefit. Then I've done the wrong thing. And this is where we've had, with the information coming into our Senate inquiry, where clearly the wrong thing was done.
But that's one thing I don't understand. On one hand, you're highly critical of ASIC and their dealings with the CBA Storm Financial. And on the other hand, you're saying, no, ASIC can look after these things. I now trust them. Why the change of mind on ASIC?
Well, we've got to have some faith in ASIC. And one thing this inquiry has done, Chris, is really put ASIC on notice that we expect a lot more from them, not to muck about, to act quickly, don't be a softie. We want a regulator that is feared. And at the moment they are not feared, and I believe in the future they will lift their game and act quicker. That's why this whole inquiry came about, because I said to Peter Kell at Senate Estimates, why did it take you 16 months to act? And he said, we got a great result. So in a state of anger, we launched the inquiry, basically.
Now, just finally then, the government has its position on the FOFA laws. You're calling for the inquiry. Is these issues pretty much settled, or do you see this as an ongoing issue? The government may revisit the FOFA laws, or you might want them to revisit the FOFA laws sometime in the future, depending on how they work out in practice.
Look, I think all these things are ongoing, Chris, because different products come on board. You know, Storm Financial was destined to fail. It was never going to succeed once the stock market went down 20%. It was doomed for failure. It was so heavily geared. ASIC's job, and all of us, is to see that these financial products out there that are really bad and dangerous do not come up again. But they will. As time goes on, someone will come up with some bright idea. It'll end up in tears. My advice to every Australian is look before you leap. Talk closely to friends, talk closely to financial planners, even seek advice from ASIC or your federal member, anywhere. But do not rush into some plan, because the main thing is, Chris, if it looks too good to be true, usually it is.
Okay. Senator John Wacker-Williams, thanks for your time today.
Always good to talk to you, Chris. Thank you.